understand that this is an international webinar, so we're having people join us from different countries. So we're all welcome once again to the River States CAAP, that's the Climate Actors Accelerators Program Climate Webinar. This is our second webinar, and I'll just go right into the slides. Confirm that you can hear me, please.
Loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Okay, just a brief about CAAP. This is a program organized by the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network Nigeria, and they recognize the significant threat of climate change and its consequences as a result of the triple planetary emergency, which includes the rising global temperatures, habitat loss leading to the extinction of species, and ongoing pollution of air, land, and water. And the Climate Actors Accelerator Program, it's a unique opportunity for young innovators and change makers to join the fight against the global climate crisis. It's with a focus on individuals aged 18 to 35. This knowledge sharing and innovation program offers a comprehensive approach to creating a sustainable future through advanced training, boot camp, environmental campaigns, cleanup efforts, tree planting activities, ecological tours, and innovative thinking. And majorly, the goal of this program is to develop a network of young climate champions that would pioneer transformative solutions to protect our planet and restore the ecosystem. And specifically, the climate webinar aims to educate young people on climate change, raise awareness, and promote active citizenship. So we're all welcome once again. And the team for the River States team, for myself, I'm Shalom Igbo State's representative. And then I have here with me also Excel Amifule, who is also going to serve as a co-moderator of this event. He's our project manager. I have Mrs. Adeze Benepogi, stakeholder manager, Praise Farah, who is also one of the panelists on this meeting. He's our administration manager. For the other team members, we have Peter Chisom, Oyenobia, Linda, and Solomon Anunobi. And I'll be introducing our panelists right away so we can get to the question and answers. Our first panelist, Dr. Sajid Wijasuriya, obtained his PhD in mechanical engineering, thermal sciences to be precise, from the Colorado School of Mines in the USA, that's the United States of America. He works as a postdoctoral researcher at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory of the United States and supports Clean Energy Ministerial Workstream, Clean Energy Solutions Center, that's CESC. His core research areas are thermal energy storage, building energy sciences, grid responsive buildings, and grid interaction modeling. This is his fourth year with IEEE, which is the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, with a focus on interfacing IEEE with the United Nations mechanisms. He has worked at the Technology Interfaces, Climate, that's the United Nations FCCC, TEC Task Force, Yongo, and development agendas such as the SDG 7 Youth Constituency and the CED Sri Lanka spaces for the last decade. He also founded the organization Science Policy Circle, which is accredited to the UNCCD process. He will be coming into the IEE Young Professionals Global Task Force as the chair of the Climate and Sustainability Task Force. Dr. Sajid, you are welcome. Please, can you unmute your mic and say hello to everyone?
Hello, everyone. It's really great to be here. And thank you for that well-formed introduction, Shalom. Looking forward to the session. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate. And the second panelist, who is Mrs. Ewube Kelly. I'll go ahead and read her profile and she will say hello to everyone. Ewube Kelly Laura Egbe is an African Union scholar from the Pan-African University Institute of Water and Energy Sciences, including Climate Change University of Derklem, that's POES, Algeria, and she acquired a Master's of Science degree in water policy. She's equally a scholar of Ban Ki-moon Center for Global Citizens, where she is currently taking an executive training on young women leadership on climate adaptation. Mrs. Ewube is a winning, she's a winning team of the Geneva Challenge Award 2021. She also has a robust and dynamic, she's also a robust and dynamic young fellow of geography, policy studies, water, climate, environment, and human development. She is active in waste and water management projects within Africa and within the sustainability transition issues in line with the SDGs. She's also active in the circular economy and systems thinking models. She's actively engaged in community management through community-based approaches and advocacy, carbon credit innovations, and smart integrated agricultural technologies, WASH, adaptation, implementation methods. She's currently working on developing a waste management climate mitigation mobile application, which will cut down on greenhouse gas emissions. You're welcome, Mrs. Ewube. Please, can you unmute your mic and say hello to everyone? Ms. Ewube, are you on the call? Can you confirm that you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Maybe we can move to the next speaker when she comes.
Okay. Yes, right away. Michelle, I'm so excited to be introducing Michelle right now. Michelle Sebastian is a wife, she's a mother, she's a daughter, and she's a breast cancer survivor, and she's passionate about a sustainable future. With over a decade of experience predominantly in the construction industry, Michelle is passionate about the construction industry's transformation into the low carbon future. Michelle holds a civil engineering degree from the University of Cape Town in South Africa, as well as an MBA in Green Energy and Sustainable Business from Bologna Business School in Italy. And her experience spans across technical and commercial, from civil engineering, management consulting, marketing, and customer and market insights, all within the construction industry. Having lived, studied, and worked across different continents, namely Africa, Europe, and the Middle East, Michelle's emerging world with her personal interests rooted in seeing a sustainable future, particularly for Africa. Michelle started her career as a civil engineer. Now she's determined that her future lies in a more sustainable future. She pursued an MBA in Green Energy and Sustainable Business at Bologna Business School. Upon graduation, she found new opportunities for postgraduates within sustainability, and fast forward to the present, and globally, we see a critical mass form to drive our low carbon future we need. So this is a reminder she's given to everyone to go boldly in the direction of their dreams. Hello, Michelle. Please can you unmute and say hello to everyone?
Is it on my side or your side? I don't know if but I think you've cut out. But hello, everyone. And I'm excited to have this intercontinental and, what a diverse group we have. I'm excited to have this discussion, and thank you so much, Shalom, for including me in this discussion. I'm glad that we have a mix of academic and business, as well as globally, a globally diverse team here. So thank you so much. I'm excited to have this discussion.
Yes, it's an honor to have you. Thank you so much for being here. And finally, we have our fourth panelist, who is Mr. Praise Farah. He's an aspiring process engineer who is passionate about making a positive impact through volunteerism and teamwork. In 2022, he founded Trillions Africa, a unique climate education project that has already impacted the lives of over 100 students in Bauchi and Rivers State, Nigeria. Praise is currently serving as the Vice President and Chairman of the Budget Committee at the Nigerian Society of Chemical Engineers, ATBU chapter, where he brings his exceptional leadership skills and engineering expertise to the forefront. In addition to his professional achievements, he has actively participated in various leadership training programs, including Leap Africa in Lagos, Lead Thoughts and Humanitarian Services in Bauchi, Millennium Campus Network in collaboration with the United Nations, and Young Leaders Network in Bauchi, which have enriched his leadership capabilities. With his unwavering dedication to continuous learning and a friendly and approachable demeanor, Praise is a valuable team player and an accomplished leader who is poised to make a meaningful difference in the field of process engineering and beyond. Mr. Praise, please can you kindly unmute yourself and say hello to everyone?
Hello, good evening. Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, but your background is echoing a bit.
Okay, hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, better.
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm super excited among the panelists. And I wish everyone the best year. Let's dive in. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So I'll be diving deep into the questions. So for the first one, I've already introduced everyone. I think if we can also turn on our videos to be able to see ourselves, that would be awesome as well. So the first question goes to Dr. Sajid. Please, can you tell us in your own experience?
Sorry, can you repeat it again?
Okay, I said, can you tell us in your own experience, how has climate change affected your organization? And you can also address it in form of like your environment and your country, that's the United States of America. Please tell us.
Yeah, so this is an interesting question because I work in different organizations at the moment. So let me tell you the sort of the perspective from the IEEE side. So essentially, I come from a background of engineering. So for the last decade or so, I have done research on thermal sciences. So it gives me a good feeling of how the thermal sciences are quite relevant to the climate change that we are seeing, because climate change in itself is partially identified and related to the temperature change as well, as we very well know. So my work directly relates to identifying these temperature differences that we experience in the environment and trying to sort of provide solutions mainly for the buildings, so commercial and residential sector buildings, of how can we create resilient buildings in order to react to these temperature variations. So we know that we are facing extreme temperatures, both low temperatures and high temperatures. So the future of the infrastructure should be capable of handling these changes. So that is why we are trying to put forward these solutions of resiliency. So when you say like how it has affected my organization, let's say my body of work, and it has affected a lot. So I regularly work through these temperature variations in the climates that I work on. I work on different climates. Even within United States, there are a lot of different climate scenarios, and some might be related to your home countries as well because of that variation. So we are finding different unique solutions that would help each weather and climate type. So you can say that it has affected a lot whatever the temperature variations in the environment that we observe because of the climate change. So the bottom line is that we are trying to find solutions that would safeguard human life when it comes to the extreme climate scenarios. That is part of my research as well. So I think that would be a good sort of a description of how the climate variations and climate change related extreme weather has affected my body of work, in which I engage with these different organizations in my work. So that is my response.
Wow. That's that's something that is relative to other countries as well. So Michelle, please can you tell us too, like how has that climate change affected your organization as well? I believe you're currently in the United Arab Emirates. Am I correct?
Yes, so I have quite a different maybe response to that question, but again, glad for the diversity. So I'll start with the country piece and then get into the organization. I'm South African, if you can hear, I'm South African, but I'm based in Dubai in the UAE. And right now, it's actually, so it's a very different response, I guess, but it's actually inspiring to be in this country right now. Right now, we are in what the UAE has claimed as the year of sustainability, moving and leading towards COP28, which is going to be hosted by UAE in Dubai. It's been phenomenal just seeing the leadership and how pragmatic, action-oriented, and really collaborative they've been to not just have a vision, but actually get wheels going for COP28 and leading into COP28, and not just have COP28 being one event, but having long-term impact and really driving action. So I can see that, and we can see it in, for example, Mazda, which is the largest UAE renewable firm, having multiple deals and contracts around the world with US, Japan, and especially in Africa. There's been multiple African countries with renewable energy deals in the last, just this year. So we've seen real action and commitment leading up to COP28, and you can see that there's long-term impacts. So I'm quite excited. It's a different response to that climate change piece. But then on the organizational perspective, I work for Hilti. It's a company based, a family-owned company headquartered in Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein is this small country wedged between Switzerland and Austria, but we have a global footprint, and we're really a partner in the construction industry. If you think almost all, I would say most major construction or major construction feats in the world has probably had a Hilti tool or power tool or a Hilti support system included in them. And I'm proud to work for it. From a climate change perspective, I think overall, and we're looking at like from a business perspective, and really sustainability has really been core, or sustainability has really been core part of what Hilti does and how we operate. Building a better future was really part of what our strategy was, our previous strategic period, and now going forward into the next strategic period, which is leading up to 2030. We've got we really centered and pulled out sustainability as a key piece in our strategy, being making construction better, and a key customer promise of being the best partner for productivity, safety, and sustainability. So really making sure that this is in the forefront and part of our strategy, and not just the strategy, but part of our actions and our business. And then if you can think about it as this global company actually putting this as their strategy, you can see that this means that there's a critical mass that makes sure that most businesses or all businesses in the globe are doing this, right? We're making sure that we are taking part in what we know or what we envision to be the low carbon future.
Yeah.
From a sustainability point of view, there's 3 pillars in HILT: environment, people, and society. Environment, we're really focusing on obviously our business footprint, and how can we do this how can we consciously do this to make sure that we have lower carbon emissions. We have targets set for carbon neutrality end of this year and net zero by 2050. We also want to be the leader in the construction industry for circularity. So we've really tried to push not just what the strategy would have on paper, but really what's happening on the ground and what's happening in our business, and really make it action oriented. On the people side, we're committed to our people. Our foundation is our people and caring and performance oriented company. So people meaning our customers, their health and safety, we being a partner with our construction customers in the industry, our team members, and obviously our partners to deliver what we want, the services we provide. And then society piece, we want to make sure we have scaled social impact. We really do this with the arm of our HILT Foundation, and super exciting projects that are happening there. Personally, I'm happy and excited about the HILT Foundation's project. On one of them, there's so many, but some of them too I would raise is in the Philippines, in connection with Habitat Humanity, we've developed a bamboo technology to have structural bamboo and sustainable materials for structural buildings. So that's quite exciting. And then another one where we've always had impact or social impact, where we've supported entrepreneurs, particularly small businesses in Africa. And now looking into it, we've really started having business skills along with the funding. So predominantly female entrepreneurs in Uganda, Ghana, West and East Africa. We empowering entrepreneurs to not just get funding, but also to have the business skills and accounting skills and financial skills to make long-term benefit from this. So that's our perspective.
Wow. Wow, that was really elaborate. That has covered not just about the motivation, it's also like explained what what your company is currently doing about climate change, and that's really impressive. I society, and also knowing that people are critical they are critical part of the energy transition. So that's really impressive. Okay, thank you so much. So I believe Ms. Ewube is now on the call. Would also love to see a video. Ms. Ewube?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Hello.
Yeah, good day.
Okay. Let me introduce Ms. Ewube once again. So she's from Cameroon, and we're going to be listening to her about some of the ways climate change has impacted Cameroon. Ms. Ewube, over to you.
All right, thank you very much. Today has been hectic concerning internet connection. Is just on and off. So getting my video on, probably you stop hearing me. But at a point, if it's good, I'm going to turn on my video so we can see each other. So thank you again for the opportunity. I'm Ms. Ewube from One Green Africa, an initiative born because of the problems of waste management in Cameroon and in the town of Buea precisely, whereby disposal and treatment is very, very, how can I say, is very poor. So Cameroon is a country where we have practically one managing sector, an enterprise. It's I can call it a parastater, and they are practically involved in clearing of the waste and dumping on landfills. They are not very active in transformation, meaning that if I am to put in a technical term, I would say displacement of waste, because they get it from our doorposts and dump it elsewhere in a situation where the same waste will come back to us. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yes, yes.
All right. So when this is being done in the circle, it makes no difference, because you just display something for it to come back to me. The present eye cannot see it, but you have sent it to the eyes of another community, and the impact is being felt elsewhere. So that gives birth to my initiative, and also my motivation to be one of the solution and contribute to solutions in Africa to the problems we have. We were able to access to. Do we have proper technology? Do we have great facilities like electricity and everything that will help us to transform waste properly? Because the tendency is that we go about solving one sustainable development goal while causing another. For example, the way waste is being transformed in the local context these days, where my friends, as I have in the community, they are doing wonderful works, transforming
Oh,
Hello.
yes,
Yeah,
we can
hello.
now, you're back.
Can you hear
Hello?
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry about that. That's just what I was trying to explain. So we realized that, yes, I can hear you. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Uba, are you with us?
Oh, I think that she has, yes. Oh, she's back.
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay, okay.
So I'm trying to do this this whole process. I just want to hope that I'm not lost. Okay, trying to solve the problems faced by the environment. We find out that we are causing more health challenges for ourselves. Melting the waste the crude way. If we melt it the crude way, it gets to affect our health. And now we are talking about fixing the climate by clearing the waste from the gutters and the landfills, while we are transforming it, and the kind of toxic smoke that comes from the whole of this process is affecting our health. Within a long term, we start getting problems like liver problems. We start experiencing cancer and all that. So where are we headed as Africans? Irrespective of the challenges, do we sit and wait for when sustainability will finally come? And who are those to begin implementing or finding these solutions? It's you and I. So we have One Green Africa, which has given birth to the upcycling of waste in the Cameroonian context to produce crafts. We notice that the crafts industry is growing today because so many people are becoming idle based on the economy, and so many people lack jobs. And if we are talking of involving women, women are people of beauty. They are based on their origin is creativity. They just love to make the places beautiful. So we have come up with craft ideas that help us to reduce the waste. So we transform every kind of waste. We upcycle it from plastic containers to paper waste to toothbrushes, everything, glasses, wine bottles, everything, can mouths, every can drink. We transform those waste to produce beautiful artifacts used in offices, in like kitchen utensils, in decoration, in events and everything. So with this, we believe that while Africa is waiting to get the best sophisticated machines that will help us transform the waste so that we will not be able to see it, we can start from somewhere. And we don't just know where we are headed. That is why we even use some of our plastic containers for sustainable agricultural technologies like the plastic bottle greenhouse farming. Yeah, today we have IDPs, we have people who are internally displaced from the Anglophone crisis of Cameroon and they don't have jobs. Now, we introduce our technology to the local councils where they can group displaced persons and then give them a piece of land. These displaced persons gather bottles from the environment and then they build their greenhouse farms. And knowing the long-lasting life of the plastic bottles, they know that they can use that greenhouse for up to 4 to 5 seasons, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years without it getting decayed. So they get to do their practices, they feed themselves and their family in the midst of crisis. So it is really working well, and we see that. Hello, can someone mute itself?
Yes, we can.
Right. Just continue. We're hearing.
Okay, so in line with all our activities, we have been able to reduce the rate of burning of waste. Burning of waste has been adopted by many areas in Africa as a way to transform or to eliminate waste from the environment. But you and I, as climate experts, we know that it is not close to one of the solutions. Rather, it compiles on the already existing challenges we face that industries are causing for the atmosphere. The toxicity in the release of their carbon monoxide from vehicles and all that. If we burn waste, it is instead impacting us negatively. Yeah. So by the time we transform waste, we begin reducing it from its source. If the household knows that something like toothbrushes and plastic containers can be used to do something else, they will be able to get into it and don't throw it on the environment. Also, big industries who can join us, people who can join us, as we say, many hands will do the work. It will become a thing of hunting. People will be looking for the waste to make their money, to develop the economy. And by all this, we'll not be having piles of landfills where we go for burning. In January 2023, there was a fatal accident around the community where I am. What caused this accident? The waste disposal company lit a fire in the landfill. And then the cloud became so dark. A bus collided with a small vehicle carrying 7 people and all of them died. That is the string of waste disposal, poor waste disposal and management in Africa that we are facing. That is just one of the problems. Can we talk about the problem of water pollution? That the landfills is breeding the toxicity of the drainage that is coming from it, how it gets into the soil, how it gets into the surrounding water resources that the communities depend on. And then we talk of WASH challenges, water sanitation and hygiene. So it is a whole circle. Now, my call for us as youth is to continue with the message because we can't stop already. Let's just start and continue preaching and then sensitizing, because it's going to go a long way to help us as Africans while waiting for sustainability at its peak. We can start from somewhere. Let me end here for now. Thank you.
Wow, that was really explicit. Wow, I can understand a lot of things that you have mentioned, especially about air pollution, and that's something that is very prevalent here in Nigeria. I think Mr. Farah is going to throw more light on that. So, Mr. Farah, how has climate change affected you, especially in Nigeria? And what was your motivation finally to start taking actions on climate change? I think every other panelists have made mention of this. Let's just take the questions down. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. My name is Biswara, like moderator already said. I'm the founder of Leap Africa. I'm the founder of Trillions Africa, and it started as a project in 2022 when I was doing my fellowship with the United Nations Millennium Campus Fellowship. So we live in amongst people in secondary schools and primary schools. And we also initiated the project of tree planting. So one of the things that affected us is issue of drought in Bauchi State, Nigeria, where the land is very dry and it takes our project of tree planting. And generally in my country, for Nigerians to remember.
Sorry, Mr. Farah, I think your line is breaking.
It's actually raining over here.
Yeah, I think even here as well.
Okay,
or maybe you can speak closer to the. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. As a Trillions Africa started as a project, as a Millennium Campus project in 2022. And okay, let me better turn off my video so that you can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, Trillions Africa actually started as a project in the Millennium Campus Fellowship, and it started in 2022, August to be precise. What we do actually in Trillions Africa is climate education amongst young people, and also we do tree planting. And one of the things that affected us in 2022 was the high level of drought in Bauchi State, Nigeria. The ground was too dry for us to kickstart our tree planting. And also in my country, Nigeria, we experienced flooding sometimes last year, which affected some states. Lagos State, Kogi State, Bayelsa to be precise, is one of the states that is prone to flooding. And we can see this actually resulted in a kind of high level of flooding. The roads went bad and access to transportation was very difficult amongst people. So climate change actually is a very important issue we should talk about and educate young people about it, because if you are educating the young people, you tend to secure the future, because the young people are the future of the country. Thank you. Hello?
Yes.
Did you hear me?
Hello.
Okay, yeah, we can hear you.
Hello?
Can you still hear me?
You can.
Yeah.
Sorry? Did you get what I said? Hello?
Yeah, hello. So I believe yeah, we have Mr. Farah and Ms. Shalom you are available. So I think she will join us. So we know that we're having a network challenge over here in Nigeria because of the. Go ahead. Can you hear me, please? Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I'll be handing over to Shalom if your network is okay.
Yes, it's okay. It was just a challenge of I wasn't hearing really well because of the thunder thumper. So thank you so much, Mr. Farah. These are some of the challenges. I'm happy that you are also doing something about. Okay, Dr. Sajid, can you confirm that you are still here? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right, so I did hear about the temperature variations, especially in the United States. And I was wondering, like, so how do your organization, how do you tackle climate change? You know, I understand you're also a researcher. How about how does the organizations you are part of, how do they tackle climate change? And also for you as a person, how do you also do that with your skills?
Yeah, so the thing is, the temperature variation, extreme weather is not just related to USA or United States. It's everywhere at the moment. So you usually very regularly hear about the heat waves and also cold fronts around the world. So what in order to respond to this, what we have been trying to develop collectively in my engagements in research, what we focus on is to how we can make the residential and commercial buildings more resilient for temperature variations. So there are different solutions like adding thermal storage to buildings so that they can withstand these temperatures. And also when we are thinking of the building walls and the walls, the roof and other components of a building, there are a lot of solutions that are relevant to any part of the world. I think you might have seen a lot of African countries adopting white surfaces for buildings to reflect most of the heating that is coming through radiation. So these are solutions that are now widely implemented, not just in the USA. And also it's sometimes there can be more improved solutions, materials that can be developed um, so that it doesn't really have to change the look of your house or the building, because sometimes people don't really want to sort of, it's really difficult to maintain the white surfaces of the building. So now we are looking at new solutions for different coatings for buildings to, withstand these high temperatures. And also there are solutions like using solar panels at the building roofs and so on. So at the same time, you get to generate energy, and at the same time, you can prevent overheating of the buildings. So this can prevent health problems for a lot of people if we can just make the houses more protective from the temperature variations. So these are some of the solutions that we are looking at, but there's still a lot to be done. We have to find cheap material, so that cheap material in the sense in terms of the cost, right? And also materials that we don't need to really destroy the environment to get to. So there's a lot of problem. There are a lot of problems now in, I think you are feeling this in Africa as well, different countries related to minerals that are needed for solar cells and other renewable energy components. So these minerals come from developing countries, and there's a lot of destruction of environment because of these excavations and extractions. So now what we are looking at is to make a more recyclable renewable energy generation units, solar, wind, and other components to be made out of recyclable and also long withstanding materials, so that the environmental destruction is avoided for, especially for the developing countries. And at the same time, developing countries get sort of income based on these materials as well. So we have to sort of be careful to balance this, right? So it is really important that whatever the energy transition or transformation that we are looking at is beneficial in terms of the economic gain for developing countries. So there needs to be a proper plan to not to overproduce, but produce at the same time to benefit the communities who are actually doing groundwork to get these materials. So if the overconsumption is controlled, that is the sort of the idea of being sustainable, right? So not to stop the benefit for the developing countries, but at the same time not destroy the countries as well. So there needs to be a very carefully formulated balance. So that is why research is important. So the research will determine how material use can be reduced and materials can be recycled, and materials can be used for a long time to generate energy. So the generation of energy per lifespan of a material can be long. So we are trying to make it happen that way. So I can't point out a specific organization, as I said, because I work with the different organizations at the moment, but some of the organizations I work with are working really hard to make this happen. So one point about the one of the most important issues that you highlighted, the garbage problem in developing countries. I know this from my home country back in Sri Lanka. I was born in Sri Lanka. So this garbage burning happened a lot and it still happens, and I think it is a major problem, and it the only way for that to change is to change the sort of the mindset of the people to how they approach the different waste and how they handle garbage, and that needs a larger campaign of awareness. We have been trying starting small in small clusters, but to make a larger impact, I think it should be a very top-down, very sort of comprehensive way of changing the minds of the people to handle garbage and not to burn them and to dispose of them in a proper manner. So that is my response to sort of all the points raised. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. That's really actionable. I was also wondering, like, because the whole new technology, the solar panels and all of that, I was really worried about recycling. So I'm happy to hear that there are other plans for recycling, especially solar panels, and such technologies do exist. So I'm happy to hear that. Thank you so much, Dr. Sajid.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll move to Ms. Michelle. So yes, please can you tell us like, aside as an organization, like this is what you do for your climate actions. How about like personally, what do you do like in the climate space? How do you contribute to the climate change discourse? And also like share with us some fascinating achievements. And I also like to hear about the trip to Japan, because that's like the exciting part.
And maybe I lead with the exciting part first. Yeah, I think from my side, I come from South Africa, right? So I'm African. When you're talking about reuse, recycle, these are just things that we do as part of life. We reuse the plastic bags that we need to use because we're not rich. We're a developing country as well as, we don't necessarily come from a rich family. So these initiatives or sustainability initiatives that are claimed as sustainability is just part and core parts of how we probably all grew up, right? So a lot of these initiatives are not being branded and buzzwords, but it's just part of who we are and how we live our life. We part of a greater community. In South Africa, call it Ubuntu. So I am because of others. And with that saying, that comes with an understanding of my impact on what I'm using, how I'm using it, and how I can help others with what I have. And so personally, that's piece that I think I like to share. But the other piece, like you mentioned, I'm part of Women in Sustainability, Environment and Renewables. It's a program that I've met Shalom in. It's actually so an amazing program. It's a one-year program for women in sustainability. And we are basically being empowered and educated through this one-year program. And it's super exciting that we can get to meet people like Shalom and connect. But as part of this program, which is initiative by Mazda, there's part of this initiative, I was selected to take part in a course, a 2-week course in Japan called focusing on carbon neutrality and leadership. And it's really been it was an amazing adventure, actually. Firstly, an adventure, then obviously an experience. It was 2 weeks of 5 different cities across Japan. We started in Tokyo, ended in Tokyo. So it's Tokyo, Kyoto, I'm losing my Japanese cities in my head, but Yokohama. We went across Japan and we met high level, really industry trailblazers and companies, as well as governmental institutes across Japan, and really understanding their carbon neutrality approach, what they're doing. And what I would take from it is the government and the leadership in Japan really has a clear vision. And similar to the UAE, where I see it's not just a vision and something written down and put on a piece of paper and put up nicely. We're really seeing action happen. So they're really action oriented in terms of trying to deliver that vision to a low carbon future. And not just a low, they've got clear targets for their 2030 and 2050 carbon neutral world. And I think what they've done is also created a very good ecosystem to collaborate across value chains, across different businesses and types and industries, whether it's in academic and research, into design and engineering, into building and construction, or supply chain or global supply chain, as well as governmental and intergovernmental relations. They've really created an ecosystem for long-term change that they can leverage to have long-term growth as well, and obviously sustainable growth for themselves and their company and their country. I would also think what I would love to do is really pull those skills and obviously the knowledge I've learned from those 2 weeks, and see what forums like this where we can collaborate and share across, particularly in the African continent, see how we can collaborate and also share the learnings that we get from multiple countries, multiple experiences. And so I love this kind of platform for that, and create a create impactful long-term solutions for Africa. And I think this type of forum is something that we can do more often. And also obviously broaden that scope and sharing more. So yeah, from a personal perspective, that's one thing I've done. Reuse, recycle is part of just who we are. It's natural. And reduce, this is part of who we are. I don't come from a rich family. This is just part of what we do. And then 2, on this program that I've joined this year, and met such amazing people and opportunities to travel and learn about different cultures as well as their carbon neutrality approach. It's been amazing. So that's my piece.
Yeah, thank you so much. These are things that I think a lot of people do highlight. Everyone has taken reuse, reduce, recycle as part of their lifestyle, and that's something we keep encouraging everyone to adopt. Thank you so much, Michelle. So Ms. Ewube, I would like to give you the next question, and I see your video is on. Thank you so much. So in your own opinion, what do you think are some of like the biggest challenges facing young people in the climate space? You mentioned a lot about, getting youths out there, and I was on the chats where you already started the discussion about youth engagement in the climate space. So, but there are challenges out there. So if while you indicate the challenges, also help us to like highlight, shortly some of the ways that these youths can be able to overcome these challenges. So, but over to you.
Sure, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Okay. So some of the challenges that the youths are facing when it comes to getting involved in the climate space is the fact that we don't know how to make use of the opportunities we have. Sincerely, if some of our parents had the kind of technology we are operating with today, they would have made the world somewhat better than us because they know how to prioritize. That is one thing that the youths of today don't know. We just feel that being in the social media space, we can use it to do anything we want to, not knowing what can come before what and what is really relevant in the context of today's society. Another thing I can say is that the youth are not conscious. They feel it's nobody's business. Whatever is going on, I did not cause it, and I don't think I can fix it. So we lack the spirit of commitment. We lack the spirit of responsibility, taking off the bull and say that I want to be the first person to. Also, we don't have patience. Why? Because getting involved in the climate space, most especially, it has to do with consistency. You need to follow what people have done in the years before you were born, what they did when you were a child, maybe just say decade by decade. And what is happening today, follow research, follow the publications. If you go on, maybe say your Chrome and you type climate talks in the last 5 years, you will see all the very important talks that have taken place in the climate space. If you follow that news, you can now determine the trend of the way things are going. But us as youth, we lack that patience. What is my business there? How can how will it put food on my table? How will it? Why? Because we see the present, we don't look at what might become of us in the future, if only we are focused with direction. So I think I've highlighted it like about 3 challenges getting involved. Why? Because if we put all of these 3 things that I have mentioned, if we put them together and we follow them in the positive direction, our voices will be heard. You become that youth that anytime you open your mouth to talk, the same government we are saying they are not giving us the space, they will tend to listen to you. Why? Because you've invested. There are people watching. It is only when you get to spaces like LinkedIn, you get to spaces like emails, like the professional platforms where people sell themselves, that you really understand that people are watching you. But what if we decide to use social media for fun and capitalize on the fact that it should end at fun? It's good. They say learning without playing, this, but with the present situation of youth today, rather we play without learning. That's what we are practicing. We play without learning. And then we have grown this mentality of blaming everything on the bad government. I don't think that's the situation. I am a victim. I come from one of the homes where we talk about political instability in Cameroon. It has affected us. I watched my parents' house being burned to ashes, their investment for years. But is that enough for me to grow this kind of anger for the government and this? What if I can just rise up and say, okay, it's my time for my own impact. Let me start with what I can do. Maybe following the climate space, I can grow this value that tomorrow another person will hear my voice and help those whose houses are procrastinated to be burnt in the next 10 years. Why? Because I voiced out. Why? Because I decided to get involved. Why? Because I decided to encourage others. So for youths, sincerely, we don't just want to trust the process. There is no time. That's what we say, time no day. I must make my money now, I must be now. There are people, we watch our friends who have decided to make the money now. We know of some of those we have lost. We'll not get into the social affairs. But I think that within the climate space, it takes a lot of consistency. It takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of sacrifice. I cannot remember how many times I will always go asking my supervisor, because he's a climate specialist in Waskal, Burkina Faso. So I'll go asking him, say, are there any new publications in the last 6 months in regards to climate? He'll be like, okay, 1 or 2, I'll share the links. And that's how I go following, because people are doing research on daily basis. And if you follow, you'll be able to understand what is happening in local context. Some of us as youths, we are the ones mystifying the present happenings of the problems we face here in Buea, in Cameroon, where we have the winds, we have the I, as informed youth, will never mystify it. We'll say the problems of climate change is being reviewed. Why? Because we have been compiling, and the climate itself and the environment can no longer support what we have given it. It's just releasing. So youth will be able to talk as though they know what they are talking, with facts to back up. I can give 1 or 2 references of the same patterns that have happened in the world and had this same feedback. Why? Because I am informed about the climate. I am informed about the trends. People go about asking, this one that rainy season is starting is in March. If you are informed about the climate, you can give a perfect scenario why it's happening that way today in Buea, Cameroon, or in the Southwest, or whichever area in Cameroon, and similarly in the world. So our way forward is that we should trust what we do. And if you develop a passion in a particular field, be patient with it, because results cannot come without hard work. I cannot remember how many times I've been rejected trying to do a presentation like this 2-3 years ago. But today I'm happy that I'm able to speak to a few minds of youth. I believe most of us here, we are youth, and we can tap our inspiration, because I also got my inspiration from people like Dr. Chizoba, Dr. Lumide, other youths from Nigeria and abroad who inspired me that if only you are consistent with commitment, look into what people are doing, I think we all will head somewhere. So Shalom, let me end there. Maybe we'll come back later. Thank you.
Wow. Wow, like you've already started talking about the next critical question that we want to address. And that's the question I would like to ask Mr. Farah. Mr. Farah, so in your own opinion, who are the major stakeholders? Because Ms. Ewube has said that she has mentioned things about we being patient with the place where we have developed our passion. So like, how are we going to maximize this passion? Who are the stakeholders that are in the climate decisions and implementation space? And how can we really like move from discussion? Because right now we have a lot of people talking, we have researchers out there. So how do we move from discussion to actions? Mr. Farah, please go ahead.
Okay, please confirm if you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, well, how can we turn discussion to action? All right, I'll just buttress on what Ms. Ewube has said. She has spoken a lot, and it has actually touched some of my answers I have to the question. So the key stakeholders, we have 2 sets of people. One is the grassroots, those of us in our community, and the other is the policymakers. Now at the grassroots, like Ms. Ewube rightly said, we always complain about things, and we have beautiful solutions in our head, but we don't put them into action actually in the grassroots. So another thing we have to do in the grassroots is to take initiative. Don't wait for government. Just take initiative. In Trillions Africa, we started planting trees. We started climate education. We didn't wait for the government to maybe give us a kind of funding before we could do something. In our communities, we can organize a sanitation of the streets. Just come together, do something at least. Let it be that you are making effort to make your environment a better place, not waiting for someone to do it for you. Then on the other side, in the policymaker area, the policymakers actually don't know the full picture of what is happening in most of our communities because they don't have proper feedbacks from the community. And we can't blame them completely because most times we only complain, but we don't give feedbacks on the situations that we are facing in our environment. So if we could come together and render help to those lawmakers, now we can craft policies. in which we could take to those people. And you already have a backing that you have started something in your community. So you don't have to wait for the lawmaker to come, okay, we are going to do this in your community, we are going to organize the sanitation, we are going to bring a truck to be taking out your waste and all that. So we have to show the government that we are actually willing to help to make our community a better place. So we have to start from somewhere. It must not be a very big project. It can be just as a sanitation or segregation of waste. Just make sure you start something, because some of these government officials, they don't want people to visit them without you having a result already. So most times you have to come with something. You don't just come empty-handed and you expect someone to support what you're doing. And also there's a kind of communication gap between the stakeholders in the grassroots and also the policymakers. So bridging that gap now will create a kind of link between the policymakers and the grassroots so that we could work hand in hand, not leaving anyone behind, so we could make our environment a better place. It's high time we stop complaining, we start taking small steps. Thank you.
Wow, that actually deserves an applause. Wow, that's, I love the way he ended it. It's high time we really stop taking the discussions and start taking actions. You know, and that really brings me back to Dr. Sajid. I know you do a lot of engagement with policymakers, and you work with some projects with, you know, the government. So we really want to know, like, how do you engage them? How do you engage the government? How do you engage policymakers? Like, what kind of skills did you use to do that? Because I think that's one of the things, the challenges that youths are currently facing.
Yeah, this is a good question for young people. So, I mean, when I was younger, it was really difficult for me to get connected to the right people. I remember I was trying to look for the good programs that actually made a difference, right? So it's a really challenging environment for young people to find these programs. So first thing you should do is find right programs that honestly do impactful work related to any thematic, may it be climate change, may it be building the resilience of the community, may it be handling of the garbage and waste, may it be environmental protection, and so on. So find a good group that does impactful work and try to learn from that group and try to become a leader, thought leader, and an action leader in that process. So when you come to that position with experience, then you can start communicating to policymakers and governments, even the private sector, with more information to show them that you know the background of the problem and that you are willing to, you have some experience as well, and you are willing to take the action further. So I think I'm not a big fan of big conferences, but if you want to meet the relevant people, at the moment, conferences provide a space for young people specifically. So that is why I always try to build constituencies. I build a constituency for SDG 7 in energy for the United Nations Major Group for Children and Youth back in 2019. So it engages a lot of young people in energy sector and supports their participation in different energy processes, right? And right now, what I'm doing with IEEE is the same. I'm building a constituency where the young people from technological backgrounds can work with agencies like International Renewable Energy Agency, International Energy Agency, the United Nations system, and so on. So this linkage is where you get linked to the people actually make policies and take decisions, right? So for an example, the agencies like International Renewable Energy Agency, they are built up of different member states, member governments, and clean energy ministerial is the same. Different member governments, different member states coming together. So this is where the key intervention happens, right? I think you who are interested in renewable energy can apply for the next IRENA Youth Summit. Maybe some of you might have already been there for the IRENA Youth Forum. So, and there are many such opportunities like these conferences and engagement mechanisms coming up for young people. So, for an example, there will be another in 3 days' time. There will be another webinar that we are organizing, which brings together International Renewable Energy Agency, International Energy Agency, Student Energy, and Clean Energy Ministerial and the academia. So they will tell you what they are doing to engage young people. So I recommend that you attend that webinar. I think, Shalom, you have the information. So that will be an opportunity to understand what these agencies are actually doing to get young people to their spaces. And those are the spaces that you can actually talk to the energy ministers, right? Renewable energy policy makers, right? Environmental ministers, and so on. So we have been trying, like for the last 5-6 years, I have been trying to make these spaces more accessible. There are still problems when it comes to these spaces being so open for young people, but we are trying our best to create more and more opportunities so that young people can engage. This is not just, this doesn't have to be international as well. The same model should be applied to the local level, right? The local governments should have spaces that young people can come and talk to the policymakers at the country level, at the local government level, at the regional level, and then the global level. So it needs to have that hierarchy. So you start with your local, you engage with your local policymakers, and then you do regional work, and you build up that experience, and then you can even meet the president of a country and tell them this is what you think needs to be done, and these are the policy changes that needs to be done. So if you run a strong campaign with your fellow young people, right? Not It's always good to work as a group rather than individual climate heroes. That is what I think, because to make more impact, more voices are needed. So that is where you actually make real change rather than personal sort of highlights. So this needs to be, so when you are engaging with a politician or a decision maker, go in groups, so then you can intimidate them. That needs to happen everywhere. That is what we are doing. So I have tried that and it has worked. So I know that it works. So this needs to be done by the young people across the world if we need to push the policymakers to make useful decisions for us, the young people, right? So that is my sort of input.
Wow, thank you so much. I see a lot of the participants already responding to some of the things that were said, and we can always read through some of the things that's already been highlighted. And yes, thank you so much, Dr. Sajid. Thank you so much. You've already mentioned some of the things that I would have wanted to ask about my next question. And somehow we're running out of time. So I think I'll, this should need to start, using what kind of skills do they need to start leveraging, and then also like your final advice to young people
You're breaking up, Shalom.
interested in pursuing careers in climate action and sustainable innovation. Yeah, very briefly, since we're running out of time. You can
Sorry,
go ahead,
Shalom,
Michelle.
I think you broke up, but I'm going to assume because of timing we do final words.
Now.
Okay, I'm going to
Yeah,
assume that
sure.
it's final words, and I'm not sure what the rest, but because of timing, I'll just start and maybe we'll do a round with Sajid, Mr. Praise, and Miss Iwube. She's still online.
Yeah.
We can have the final word. So, not to take too much time with so what I think a lot has been said today, and actually quite exciting that we've got these different views on climate change and sustainability, I think, and being focused on action. I think my final words and really advice for young people interested in pursuing careers in climate change and sustainable innovation, I would say three things, three things. Obviously, continue this kind of collaboration, action-oriented, try to find the spaces that you need, especially what Sajid had said, whether it's locally, regionally, or globally, but really try to find those spaces that you can collaborate with across the spectrum. Right today, compared to a decade ago, the sustainability/climate change sphere is so different. There's so much more opportunities in the space, and it really goes from technical, you can be a PV solar engineer, to all the way to marketing, business, strategy, management consulting. You can go across board and be within the space, or even a climate change policy maker. So the opportunities are all there, and it's much, and I really think trying to collaborate in this kind of space is really what you need to keep as key. The second thing is communication, but more in the communication piece is more about sharing your insights, sharing what you've learned, so that others that are in your sphere that also may be inspired, or maybe one day you inspire yourself, because we all go through ups and downs. So those downs, you'll remind yourself, why are you doing this? And find inspiration even in your own words and what you've communicated. And then thirdly, I say, just don't give up on your dream. If this is the space that you want to work in, keep continuing, keep on going. Your dreams are valid, your dreams are important. Continue in the path that you want. Almost a decade ago, I did my MBA in green energy and sustainable business. It was mentioned in the bio, but back then when I graduated, there weren't as many opportunities as we see now. And the opportunities are bountiful right now. So take those opportunities and just keep on pushing your dreams. So thank you so much for this opportunity, Shalom. And I'll leave it to Sajid and Trey and Ms. Iwube.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'll quickly jump to my conclusions as well. I have another meeting to go to.
Yeah,
so
that's okay.
So yeah, I agree about what Michelle said, and I want to just add a little bit on that. Just what I said before, like try to work in groups, and like be collective in your approach, and try to learn about the issues and solutions. So just you can make effective communication when you meet people that are in power. So, and always keep looking for opportunities. Like Michelle pointed out, just keep asking questions, keep writing emails to the people that you need to engage, right? In different capacities, and ask them whether you can engage in this capacity, or what you can contribute with. Don't be afraid to reach out to even the most powerful people, right? It doesn't there's no loss in that, because you have some idea in your mind that you want to implement or influence. So best way is to keep reaching out, even if it doesn't work out, you made an attempt. So that's what matters, and that's how things get done, I think. Yeah, thank you. That is from my end.
Wow, that's so awesome. And thank you so much, Dr. Sajid. I think maybe let me just tell everyone to turn on their camera so I can just take a picture with you in it before you log off, since you're since you need to attend another meeting. Please, if you can turn on your camera, please help us to turn it on. Miss Ewube, I would like you to just go next, but we're really running out of time. Maybe you can just conclude in 1 or 2 minutes your final advice to young people, and yes, especially highlighting the key skills that they need to incorporate. Please turn on your camera. Thank you so much. Yes, Ms. Ewube, over to you.
All right. Hope you can hear me. So for a word for my youth, I'm a youth, and I expect us all to understand from which point I'm coming from. We have challenges. The world already has posed enough challenges for us, so many options to make it in life. But with consistency, as I already said, I think we can do our best. Let's just be able to observe the trend, observe the way things are unfolding, follow news, follow publications, and all what we've been saying as with reference to Sajid. Some of the solutions we considered 2 years ago, like I can remember, solar lamps used to be a solution. But today, with the rate of the number of solar lamps that each household can acquire per year, up to 10 to 15, and they get bad, is becoming another source of pollution. We see that what was considered a solution 2 years ago is becoming a problem. It's compiling on the situation. So you follow the innovation and you think of what we can do. Sustainability is all about coming up that will help us in our present without jeopardizing the future. So then another word is, don't see anyone as being too little to be your mentor. I can be 30 years, 40 years, and I see Ms. Michelle, maybe she's 20 years. She has the right skills. She has the exposure. So what's there? We as youth, sometimes you're like high-headed. I cannot succumb. I cannot ask for advice. I think we should just calm down, be yourself, choose your passion, and then you see how to invest in it, and we all can grow. Not everybody is a climate expert, and so not everybody can do the same thing.
Sure. Well, I would have loved to compliment on that, but I would allow Mr. Farah to give his last final words of advice to everyone, and then we'll have to close on the meeting. Mr. Farah, please. Yes.
Let me make it real quick. Okay, but other people have spoken well. Let me just add something to it. And another skill we should have as young people is fundraising skills. We shouldn't be waiting for people to give us money. You can make use of your network, at least. And Shalom can attest to this. We did a fundraising in less than 1 week, and we had 70,000 Naira plus, which is close about $100 or so. So it's very important to have fundraising skill. And thank you very much. We are running out of time. Let me not take anyone's time. Thank you. I really appreciate your presence.
Yes, thank you so much. I would say thank you once again to Dr. Sajid for the time here. We really appreciate. Miss Michelle, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Farah, and thank you, Miss Ewube, for being here with us. It was lovely to have you. Thank you so much. And we'll share a snippet of what we have discussed. And thank you to all those that contributed. I will even take screenshots because I have to also repost that. Thank you so much. And do have a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bye. Yeah,
Thank
bye.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.